Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, original, chapter number 4, text number 17. Jnana Yoga. Karmano hi abhibodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmana, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gadihi. Bodhavyam means you should understand, cognition, conscious about it, comprehend about it. So, karmana hi abhibodhavyam. You must comprehend what is karma. Bodhavyam cha vikarmana. And also you should understand what is vikarma, forbidden actions. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. Akarmana means inaction. What is inaction? Gahana means cannot be described, or one may not able to understand the gadi, karmano gadi. In which direction the karma is actually going is very difficult to explain. Now, when one commits an action, whether it is pious or impious, the result will follow him wherever he goes. Whether he goes inside the ocean, or migrate to some other country, or go beneath the earth, or somewhere in the sky, the result will follow him. Exactly like when you ride a bike, the front wheel is going, so the back wheel follow him. Exactly like that, whenever and whatever you do, the result is going to come to you. If you perform pious deeds, you feel better. When you perform a sinful activity, you suffer. The activities can be done in 3 different ways: manasa, vacha, karmana. In all these 3 dimensions of actions, the super soul, God, is the witness. Materially, there is no much difference of an ordinary person's action and an educated person's action. But when you come to spiritual life, an educated person's action is not less than an ignorant person's action, because spiritual actions transcends all material good and bad actions. Therefore, there is no distinction between good man's action, educated man's actions, uncivilized man's actions, or ordinary person's actions. They are both confused, the complicated actions of the real life. Real life means soul, body, and God. If we do not know these 3 things, no matter how many PhDs you may have, how many ranks you may have, of no use. All of them are prone to suffer the consequences of their own actions. Academic education will not help you to understand the problems of life. Why? The results are produced according to our actions by the Supreme Lord, who is the single lawmaker. We cannot blindfold the Supreme Lord. Exactly like Mother Gandhari blindfolded when she saw her husband was blind. And this blindfolding business with God cannot work, because He is omniscient. He is right there in your heart. He is omnipresent, and He is everywhere outside of it. Omniscient means He is inside of everyone and understand what they are thinking, feeling, willing. Omnipresent means He is outside of everything and everyone. And omnipotent means He can emerge from any place as He wants, even from your calendar, picture in your bedroom. If you cry, and he understands this person is sincerely weeping for me and this person needs help, he can emerge from your calendar or photograph, or from there itself he can talk to you. That is the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord. One may fool the government when they perform an illegal actions, black market, but they cannot fool the Supreme Lord. Exactly like the sun's rays pervaded everywhere, similarly, the Supreme Lord's consciousness is present in everyone's heart. So therefore, he is conscious about your karma, vikarma, and akarma. So karma and vikarma we have explained in the previous verse. Also the inaction. But the explanation of inaction we can explain in this verse. Because the Supreme Lord and his laws are very meticulous and omniscient. The material education we undergo by visiting a university is only to obtain some reward or remuneration for your temporary existence. But it does not have any long-term reality, because ultimately death will crumble everything that we own or we built up due course of time. If the end is disastrous, why do we even begin an action that produces very bad end? Therefore, we shouldn't be doing any actions that does not produce any spiritual results. If there is no spiritual essence, let us forget about it. Sriman Chanakya Pandit says, Manina Bhushida Sarpa Kim Asho na Bhayangara. It means if there is a jewel on the hood of a serpent, it does not reduce its venom. So the materialist may have very sophisticated education from a sophisticated university campus. That does not mean he is less ignorant than an ordinary person in connection with his spirituality. So this higher and lower education only try to fill up your tummy, maybe 6 inch. So having this jewel on the cobra, which we call Nagamani, never reduces its venom. So the educated people, like the scholars, philosophers, material scientists, technologists, what they're trying to do, they're trying to do something to destroy this world. Atom bombs, hydrogen bombs, various other nuclear missiles. Using the education, they're not trying to stop the death, but they're going to expedite and accelerate the death. People are anyway going to die. So what did they do? They speeded up the death of those people. Because I have a special education from Oxford, Boston, California, Berkeley universities, I am a better person. No. It does not really qualify spiritually, or they will be spiritually attracted. Krishna doesn't bother. Krishna bothers only about his devotees. The Parabrahman, the majestic personality of Godhead, who does not care for your so-called education, as Mother Kunti explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Janma Aishwarya Shrudisri Vir Ethamana Matha. Those who are intoxicated with their great birth and opulences, education, bodily beauty, cannot attract Krishna's attention because they are intoxicated. A person who is intoxicated and laying on the road, a sane person goes and wake him up. Will he wake up? If God goes to him and try to help him, will he accept their help? Because he was intoxicated. Similarly, the person who is intoxicated by these material opulences cannot be waken up even by God. Therefore, God doesn't even go to that side. Material opulences are the curse for a living being who wants an eternal life in the spiritual world. All that one life, we have to dedicate and understand the meaning of life and act on that injunctions given in the Shastra. That is called inaction. Inaction does not mean you sit in one place and do nothing as paralyzed. No, inaction means full of actions, but rendering for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. That is called inaction. Inaction means that which does not produce any pious or impious results for you, because it is transcendental. It is beyond this material nature. When we agree to perform that kinds of actions, we are in the right direction. Sometimes, despite your GPS, you will be lost to the destination that you are planning to go. You don't need any GPS when you are engaged in action. That is service to God. So that means if a person materially educated and ignorant of the soul is still like a cobra, he will bite you. Don't glorify the people, those who are highly educated, because they are the king cobras according to Chanakya Pandit. Manina Bhushida Sarpa Kim Asho na Bhayangara. So all these educations are going to help you to pick up a job. It does not actually make you to understand, pick up a job for your soul. No. To keep the soul and body together, these educations reward you some kind of remuneration. And using that, you keep the soul and body together. Now you tell me, what is the goal of life? Now you understand what is the meaning of keeping the soul and body together. In the Ishopanishad, it is said, Andam tamaha pravishyandi ye avidyam upasade tado bhuya ivate tamo yavu vidyayam radaha. Those who engage in the culture of Nascian activities shall enter into the deepest dark region of ignorance. Worse still are those people who have cultivated the so-called culture of knowledge. Did we understand the meaning of it? A person who has no knowledge, he is completely in ignorance. The person who has cultivated the so-called knowledge, he is worse than the person who has no knowledge. I am not saying. Ishopanishad is saying. But the wise spiritualist know the so-called culture of knowledge produces one kind of results. And the so-called people who have cultivated the culture of Nascians, both have different results. So what is the point in advertising that I am very, very educated, and this person didn't even go to the 2nd standard or 10th standard? When this educated person's knowledge is the same as the non-educated person. The technology is the craftsman's work. Carpenter. Nowadays, they make wonderful things. Dressers and cupboards and houses and all. How is that carpenter different from a technologist? Ultimately, all these are manifestation of material elements. And material elements produced from the mode of ignorance. Mind is produced from the mode of goodness because it has the capacity to go towards the spirituality. But the material elements do not have that capability. Using the mind, you have to engage all your material senses in different activities, whether it's spiritual or material. Therefore, first, mind has to be sanguine and tranquil. Just like the lions and tigers can be disciplined by giving proper training, just to listen to the injunctions of the scriptures and bona fide spiritual preceptors, acharyas, and God. The Shastra is the via medium, that it can only help you to progress or evolve in your current materialistic fallen civilizations. Money is required, but it is not required to abuse this body. Put an end to our vikarmic activities. Smoking cigarette and want to be cool. Don't invite death untimely. It is we who are inviting the death. Death has its own day to come to you, but we are inviting him. Come faster. So the safest action that we can render in Krishna consciousness. Inaction means we are doing actions on the command of the Supreme Lord. So we will be only rewarded. Actions and forbidden actions, Krishna has nothing to do with those things. So naturally, we have to take the responsibilities. So let us not degenerate. Let us improve our spiritual situation. That is the instruction of the Supreme Lord in this verse. Thank you. Hare Krishna.